clients are getting this new experience and we don't have a way to play around with it and learn how to use it until now. Hi, I'm Margie Remmers-Davis, creator of the Fast and Easy Way to QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor certification. Yesterday, Intuit released a prototype so that all of us could see and kind of play around with the new invoicing experience. Now, just to tell you a little bit about this invoicing experience, they have for months now been saying that they were redoing the way that we create invoices in QuickBooks Online. Now, as of right now, every new account that is created, no matter the subscription level, every new account in QBO has this new experience, this new interface to be able to create the invoices. That is true, except for our accountant accounts. Our accountant accounts, they said, are at the bottom of the totem pole, and so we are not getting them. Also, where we're not getting them is the test drive, the sample company that we use to play around with. Those are also not getting updated right away for a variety of reasons that they mentioned yesterday. But anyway, the point is that our clients are getting this new experience and we don't have a way to play around with it and learn how to use it until now. So yesterday they released this prototype that you can go in, and it's not really a sample company. It's just really pictures that you can click to kind of like see how it works. But it's better than nothing, right? So what I thought I would do today is walk through this prototype for you. I played around with it myself. I found it a little bit confusing, so I thought maybe we could just walk through it together. The link is below in the description so that you can play around with it yourself. You can kind of see what it looks like. When you click that link, you will see this that says test drive the new invoicing experience. Okay. Now this test drive, this prototype, has 4 flows. So like 4 workflows that you can play around with. The first one is convert estimate to invoice. Now, I'm not sure why they put this one first, because I think this is one that we don't use very much, but that is the first one. If you are not familiar at all with how to convert an estimate to an invoice in the first place, you can grab one of our free hands-on exercises. The link is down below. It is convert an estimate to an invoice. This is the current interface, and you do have to you do this exercise first to create the estimate. So you click this to create the estimate, and then once you've done that, you hop over here to this exercise to actually convert that estimate to an invoice. So you can do that hands-on for free. Like I said, the links are down below. The second one in this prototype is invoice views. So you'll see one of the kind of cool things about the new interface is all on one page. You can see what it's actually going to look like when your customer receives the invoice, what the PDF looks like, what the email looks like, etc. Then number 3, and this one is really the one we want. I don't know why they didn't do this one first, but number 3 is to populate the invoice so you can see the different fields and you can play around with it. And then finally, we have the invoice settings and actions. Now, the way that this works is, so let me just click this, go to the first flow, is the first page that you see here are instructions for how to get to the workflow. That's the green button here. And then what to do once you're in that prototype workflow. So right here it says try it out, and then you're going to have these bullets that tell you how to do that. For the instruction pages, you have this little next button, so you could go look at the next flow. So here again is the instruction page for the invoice views. And then you could go back to the convert estimate to invoice, or you could go forward to populate the invoice. Populating the invoice has a lot of stuff here. And then finally, invoice settings. And then there's one more page at the end that allows you to share the feedback. So, let me just go back. I'm just hitting my arrow key because when I went to share feedback, it didn't allow me to go backwards. So I'm just hitting my arrow key to go back through the instructions again. Okay, so here we are on convert estimate to invoice. And what you do to actually open the flow is to click this this green button here. So I'm going to click that, and you'll notice that it opened up in a different tab. Takes a second. But here's the tab that has the prototype, and then over here is those instructions, okay? So this screen right here is what the new estimate looks like, and it's very similar to what the invoice is going to look like, which we'll see in a little bit. But here I am on my estimate, and what do my instructions say? My instructions say to click on the blue Convert to Invoice link at the right-hand panel, okay? And so we're going to go back to the prototype right here. So this is the estimate. Right here, it says Convert to Estimate. So I'm going to click on that. So notice that it said briefly that it was saved, and now here we have what an invoice looks like, which as you can see is very similar to the estimate, which is the way it is now. So that is the first flow. Once you're done with each flow, you can just close the tab because you're going to open up a new one for the next flow. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is the invoice view. So I'm going to click this to go to the instructions. So here are the instructions, and then I'm going to click the green button to actually open up the prototype. Okay, so here is my invoice. Let's go back to our instructions. Try it out. Toggle between the different tabs at the top of the screen to see the different views for this invoice. Okay, so let's try that. So up here, these are the different views. This is how we're editing it. This is what the email is going to look like. This is what the PDF is going to look like that's either attached or as part of the email. And then this is what the person is actually going to see when they try and pay the invoice. This is really helpful because I've always kind of felt like I was blind, on the other side because I didn't really know what they were seeing. So I can't really help them if they need help. So those are how you can just immediately see the different views. So that's kind of nice. The next thing here is click on the Manage button in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time to open the Invoice Settings panel. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to this other tab. Here I'm going to click Manage, and that's going to open this up. We saw this in the previous flow, the different options there, and I'm not sure we can actually open them up. So when I click on something that is not part of the flow, then it just highlights, you can see in blue, these are the clickable things. Like I said, this isn't actually a sample company. You're not actually creating an invoice. This is just kind of pictures layered on top of each other so that you can get a feel for what it looks like. But it's better than nothing. So a lot of times they unveil these things and don't give us any warning. So I'm glad, I am grateful that they at least gave us warning and they gave us this little chance to kind of play around. Okay, so going back to our instructions, so we clicked on the Manage button, and then we're going to collapse that either by clicking the Manage button again or the X. So I can click this X, and then it will close that up. Okay, so that is the invoice views. Next, we're going to look at populating the invoice. This one's a little bit longer. If, by the way, you are brand new to QuickBooks Online, you don't even know how to create an invoice in the current system, then I have a free exercise for you to do that as well. It's just let's practice, add an invoice. It walks you through the scenario, the different screens, etc. All absolutely free, again, down in the description. And if you would like access to more than or close to we're getting close to 100 free exercises, you can join our Facebook group, which is the QBO Gym Locker Room. I've got that in the description also. All right, so let's get back to our prototype. So here we are. We're going to create this, we're going to populate the invoice, okay? Did I open the new one? No, this is still the old one. So I'm going to close this one. And here I am in my instructions for populating the invoice. I'm going to click the green button, Populate Invoice. It should look very similar. Okay, very similar to what we just saw, except that the Manage kind of drawer over here is open. So let's see what we can do to try it out. Okay, so this flow consists of some subflows. Once any of these are started, you need to click through the entire subflow until you can interact with the other subflows. Okay, so the first one they're going to have us do is to add input for a custom field. Okay, so on our prototype here, the custom field is this one right here that says repeat customer. Okay, so that's a custom field. And all we're going to do is we're going to click on it to kind of pretend that we are adding input. Okay, so I'm going to click on it and it popped in yes, but I assume that in the real life scenario, it would be, we would actually type yes, right? If you've known anything about custom fields, then you know you can set what kind of custom field it is. So it just depends. Okay, and we have exercises too. If you join the locker room, you get access to all those exercises, and you learn about custom fields there as well. All right, so then to turn it, to click on it again to remove that input, okay, before we can do anything else. So we're going to remove this input, and then we're going to go to our next subflow. Okay, so in this subflow, we're going to add a tag. To do that, we're going to click on the tags form field on the form to search. Again, you can get a free exercise about tags if you don't know what that is. So click on the tags form field on the form to search for the tag project landscaping. Okay, so let's find the tags field on the form. There it is right here. We're going to click this. Okay, and we can select project landscaping. Okay, so going back to there, click on it in the menu that appears to attach it to this invoice. Click on the X to remove it before interacting with anything else in this flow. Okay, so let's do that. And then we're going to click on that X to make it go away. Okay, so the next one is to add or delete an existing product or service. So we're going to click the blue Add Product or Service link on the form. So here's our form. Okay, this is very different than what we are used to seeing in our invoices, right? So it's a good thing they gave us this to play around with. So here we're going to click Add Product or Service. Let's see what it says here. Select fertilizer from the drop-down menu that appears. Okay, so we're going to click this and then select fertilizer. Okay, and then click on service date / classes / description field to add content. Okay, so normally we would so we could add the service date, and it automatically, again, this is not going to be automatic in the real world. It's just for this prototype that we're playing around with. We're going to click the service date, and then the class automatically comes in, and also the description automatically comes in. This is kind of interesting, this how we're selling it by unit. That's going to be interesting. Look, this is flat rate and this is by unit. That's going to be a fun new thing in invoices. That'll be very helpful. Okay, let's see. So we clicked on service date, whatever. Okay, now click the trash can icon button that appears next to the fertilizer line to delete this from the invoice before interacting with anything else in this flow. Okay, so we're going to click this trash can right here to remove it from the invoice. Okay, and then the next little flow we have is to add a note to the customer. Click the Note to Customer text area in the form to add some input to this field. Going back to our prototype, scrolling down, here we have Note to Customer. I'm going to click it and automatically that text comes in. Again, in the real world, you'll type in that note yourself. And the product manager who gave this presentation yesterday said that it's actually going to start having predictive text so that if you tend to always say the same things on the invoices, it will learn that and it will present you with things that it thinks that you're going to say. So that's kind of cool. All right, so we have added the note. Now we're going to remove it, and then that's all they have for this particular flow. You can see here, you would be able to add an attachment. That's not part of the prototype, but you can see that that's there. So, so that's kind of cool. Now we're just going to close the tab. So again, when you're finished, you can close the tab. So I'm just closing the tab here. And then we'll go to the next one, Invoice Settings and Actions. So here's our instructions. This green button is how we actually open it up. So we're going to click the green button. It'll take a moment for it to load. And then we will go back to our instructions. Okay, so try it out. This flow consists of some subflows. Okay, we already learned this. Once any of these are started, you need to click through the entire subflow until you can interact with other subflows. Okay, so the first thing we can do in this one is to enable or disable a customization setting. So click on the switch for terms in the customization accordion to remove the terms form field from this invoice. Okay, let's see. So here is our customization, and then we can turn off terms. So if we don't want the terms to appear on the invoice. Okay, and let's see, then click on the switch again to enable it on this invoice. So let's click the switch again. Okay. And here's our terms that show up right there. Terms on and terms off. Okay. Why would you ever turn them off? I don't know, but you can. All right. Okay. And then the next one is enable or disable a payment option setting. We're going to click on credit card switch in the payment options accordion. Okay. So let's take a look at that one. So we have, so this was our customization. So now we have payment options. And then we can turn this off right there. And let's see how that changes the invoice. We'll turn that on. So there it is. And then turn it off. And there it is. Okay. And let's see. Click the switch on to enable. So I guess they want it to be on. Okay. All right. So next, navigate to global settings. Click on the blue Edit Default Settings link to go to the Account and Settings page in QBO. So here we're going to go here. We're going to click Edit Default Settings. Notice that just takes us, it's just a quick way to get to Account and Settings, so which we're pretty familiar with. So here we are. We clicked on the Edit Default Settings link to go to Account and Settings page in QBO. Then we'll click Done or the X icon to go back to the QBO homepage. Okay. So I guess we would just change whatever we want to change, and then we could click Done. And then this takes us to the QBO home page. Well, this is a new little page. Let's see what it says here. Okay, so we got that. Click on Get Paid and Pay to go to All Invoice List. Okay, so let's see. It says, click on, oh, right here, Get Paid and Pay. You notice this is a new, this is our new left navigation bar. This is what the customers see, okay? So Get Paid and Pay. And let's go to our next instructions, go to an all invoice list. So this is all of the invoices would be listed there. Okay, and then click on the first invoice with customer name Michael Scott to go back to the existing invoice. Okay, so here we have Michael Scott, and then we're going to go back to that invoice. All right, so, all right. Now we're on the screen. We have another thing that says play with other interactions. You can click on any one of the 4 accordions on the settings panel to expand or collapse its content. So these is what they're referring to. So we've got customization, so you can see what's in there. I don't think you can click on anything, but you can just see. So payment options, that's what's in there. And then we have design. You can actually change what it looks like right as you're doing it. You can set it up as a recurring invoice. So you'll notice that that's quite a bit different than what we do right now. Okay. All right. So going back, and then click the green review and send button at the bottom of the screen to review this invoice in a full screen modal. Click the back button at the bottom of that modal. I'm not sure what modal means, but we'll see it in a minute, to go back to the previous screen. Okay, so they want us to click the review and send button. Okay, so here we have review and send. And this is more familiar. This is what we typically are used to seeing right now when we click send and close. So here we have the email, and we're all ready to go. And then what does it say? It says click the back button at the bottom of that to go back to the previous screen. Okay, so back. Okay, and here we are in the previous screen. All right, so we're finished. We can close that tab. And here we go. We can go at this point, and you guys can share your feedback once you have had a chance to play around with it and use it. They would love to hear from you. All right, so that's it. That is the Intuit's new little sandbox that you can play around with just a little bit. Not as flexible as I would like to see it, not as, as robust as if it were in the sample company and we could really play around with, but it does give us a feel for the kinds of things that we're going to see in this new interface, or this new experience as they're calling it. And I think it's pretty cool. I wish they would give it to accountant users sooner than later, but they said they want to have all of it fully functional before they release it to accountants. So that's what they said. Anyway, that's it for me. If you have any questions, of course, comment below, reach out to us, support@fastandeasyqbo.com, and I can't wait to hear your success story.